Hi, I'm Maura Thomas from John Lewis Partnership.
I'm Sylvie and I'm a Project Plan A Manager for Marks & Spencer. I work in the property team.
My name's Stuart Horwood. I'm the CEO of Brixton Market Traders Federation and I'm also a trader in Brixton Street Market.
I think it's really interesting when you think about the future challenges for retail and looking at the consumer trends. How can you predict what consumers are going to want in the future and how can you respond to that? I think as well people are going to want a lot more immediacy so that they can get the product that they want at a kind of relatively fast pace. So the growth of click and collect, I think you'll find other innovations in that kind of space. Already people are starting to explore sort of collection lockers at sort of Transport for London sites. So where does that evolve to in the future so that you can really support consumers and customers to ultimately receive the good or the service that they want. And increasingly that won't necessarily be about them owning that product. It could be that they're leasing it or borrowing it, and you already see some retailers dabbling in that space already.
Certainly talking from an environmental perspective, which is my area of expertise, I think climate adaptation and climate change is going to be a major particular issue for retail, a particular barrier. Concerning supply chains, which retail obviously depends on greatly, the changes in climate could impact crop production, which in turn will have an impact on pricing and availability of food in stores, for example. And sort of more fundamentally for our property, our estate in the UK, energy price rises and water price rises, I think are also going to be an increasing challenge.
Keeping up with people's needs, really. People's needs do seem to be changing dramatically over the past 20, 30 years I've been involved in retailing. The basics are still the same. People still need to eat, which is the main thing, but the general commodities is changing dramatically. Yeah, digital technologies and also the way that people actually access the things that they want, whether it's through the internet, whether it's going through to out of town shopping centres. It's the actual way that people get hold of the things that they want that's changing, and it's going to have major impacts on small retailers like myself and small shopkeepers, retailers. The ease of access for people to be able to get hold of things that they want.
I think it'll be interesting the dynamics between what's done online and what's done sort of in physical presence. So in whether people are going out to a shop more for the experience, for the expertise, for advice, for guidance. So maybe if they're buying a shirt, they don't know what colour or shape's going to suit them best, so they're going to access that. Whereas if they knew already that a particular size shirt always works for them from a particular retailer, they might choose to buy that from home. So I think it will be that trade-off between what people are doing online and what they want an experience for, and potentially then what impact that has on the types and sizes of the retail outlets. So already we're seeing a growth in the food side in terms of lots more convenient shops. So does that then expand out of food into other areas too? So it's about accessing expertise and guidance, maybe the breadth of a retailer's sort of product range, but not necessarily to have it in your hands there today.
Certainly again looking at the physical retail space in the UK, I think we're going to have to look at new technology, for example, to become more energy and water efficient. So for example, looking at community energy schemes so that we can perhaps share energy and create energy together, thereby sharing the costs. And also looking at circular economy, for example. So can waste be used as a resource? So can we start looking at energy from waste infrastructure on a more local scale? And similarly with water, I think the issues of water stewardship will become a much more important issue in the future for retailers.
Well, hopefully markets will still be in existence, and the main role that markets can give is real niche buying, real niche services, niche goods. That a larger multinational company may not be so interested in dealing with. So it's up to retailers to really look at things that they can specialise in. Specialisation, I think. It's always a good place for a start-up, and a market's very good for someone to develop a sense of what the customer wants. You know, you've got your customer right in front of you, so it's very good for that. You know, it's sort of instant marketing almost, and yeah, that's where the markets. Markets are restricted in what they can offer anyway by the size of a market stall. So. There's only so much you can put out on a market stall, and hopefully it's kind of being able to adapt and to change quite quickly to what people need, and if that's still an option, then markets will survive. They've been around for a few hundred years, so.
I think it's a really interesting question. One of the sort of the dilemmas that I often think of when I'm thinking about an answer to that question is statistics around that in 2050, and 2045 is close enough to that, 80% of the built infrastructure we see today will exist. So how do you transform what we've already got and make that into something compelling that people want to live in, that they have a greater quality of life, for example. There's greater community cohesion. I think that's something that everybody wants to get hold of more, and things like social media will help us with that. But it's then how do you make things more localised as well, so that we might be more locally supported in terms of the products that we need, the food that we need to eat, being able to get to work, being able to take kids to school. How can you do that in a way that is a better quality of life, so you're not stuck in traffic jams, for example?
I think going forward, the cities could start to look far more integrated. So people will be living and working very close together. So office space, small retail space, homes, surgeries, schools will all be within easy access. There'll be, I imagine, lots of recreational space, green space for people to live and work in.
Well, if we're designing a new city, it would look very different, and there would be, the way we're looking at it, they're more sort of hubs, central hubs for people to go and access services that they want, whether it's education or health service or retail, entertainment as well. There'll be more sort of centralised hubs in the cities, fairly local, trying to concentrate more on neighbourhoods and communities. You know, people are going to an area because they want to access the local hospital, or else they want to access the retail.